on Thursday the 1st of November, here is the Prime Cap Daily. So, like us, you are no doubt confused and confuddled by rates of exchange at the moment. As we talk to you, sterling is at 1.133 against the euro and markedly higher against the US dollar also, despite distinct drops in the value of the pound yesterday pre-trading. So, as most bizarre, we had a scenario whereby investors and institutions wanted, or flew, as it were, flights to safety. They wanted protection from the very real prospect of a no deal. And this resulted in the pound being somewhat lower yesterday than it had done. It fell below the 1.12 mark against the euro. Scroll forward to yesterday afternoon, and we have releases from whatever sources they may be suggesting that a deal could be done by mid-November. Dominic Raab and Mr. Barnier suggesting that a deal could actually be done. Couple with that, interest rate decisions coming through today from the Bank of England. Not to suggest, we don't mean to suggest that they will be increased, but speculation over interest rates is one of the key motivators to an increase in the value of a currency. But we have seen the pound increase by a cent in less than 12 hours. This is just hugely frustrating, no doubt, and the difficulty is that the sort of information and the sort of sentiment that's fueling this rally in the pound is not something that can be predicted. Yeah, may you live in uncertain times and change is a constant, all these kind of cliches. Ultimately, in periods of volatility, expect more volatility. When there is spurious sentiment flying around from various sources, well, why not suppose that will be positive for the value of the pound, which is effectively what we are seeing. But it's not helpful for you guys, because yesterday you may have sold your foreign currency. If you had sold your foreign currency, you'd be doing well, but you may have sold your sterling into a foreign currency for fear that the rate were likely to drop lower. Today you find yourself in a position whereby you could have achieved a cent more than you could have done had you transacted yesterday. Now we're going to bring up a graphic in front of you. This is what we call a Forex heat map. It shows you gainers and losers, red and green respectively, across the currency markets for a given time period for the trading day. As you can see, sterling green against pretty much all major currencies. Something like the US dollar shows a little bit of weakness, red against the majority of currencies. This is available, and you can bookmark it on the Prime Cap data center, but it gives you just a snapshot of the overall persona, characteristic or activity of a particular currency, one currency against a basket of others. Funnily enough, yesterday we were contacted again by a client of ours based in Singapore. He's been talking to us for a couple of weeks now about selling some Singapore dollars into sterling. He chose yesterday, when sterling Singapore dollar was at 1.76, a distinct high, to sell his Singapore dollars. And we've already had communication from him earlier this morning saying, gosh, talk about catching the market at its peak, because the pound has actually gained a couple of cents against the Sing dollar since his transaction. We would never go so far as to say that we had anything to do with that or it was anything more than luck. But it does go to show that watching these rates and striking when you see a relative improvement in a currency without speculating too far. Had he waited to see if the pound dropped further, he would now be 2 cents worse off. So our role really is to talk you through the merits of considering a transaction now versus waiting. And you will always find our brokers erring on the side of caution. Transact at the rate that the market presents you. Holding out for anything higher, anything better, leaves you vulnerable to having to suffer something worse. And please do feel free to get in touch with us if you would like to discuss what a commercial rate of exchange is and the sort of additional bells and whistles with regards to reporting and tracking that goes into the services that we provide. We will address you, assault your ear holes tomorrow. Thank you.